We've probably all had that awkward experience where a family member or friend calls us to announce that they've had a new baby boy or girl. And then they tell us the name. And then we do this sort of awkward dance of, did I say it right? Is that it? Is that really the name you picked? We might be thinking to ourselves. We might be thinking, where did they come up with that? Now, if you're one of those self-conscious parents who's wondering, is he talking about my child and me? Yes, I am. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But there's a lot to a name, and oftentimes you can tell a lot about the parents by the name they pick for their children. And I think it's interesting even noticing how some parents might move as they name their children from a name that's sort of more out there to gravitating back to a more traditional name come the third or fourth child. And I think that speaks somewhat to the parents' own faith experience, their own journey of faith. Well, I think we see something very similar in our gospel today. As we are approaching Christmas, we've been hearing about these great stories leading up to the birth of Christ. And today we hear about Zechariah and Elizabeth naming their son John the Baptist. And the name in Hebrew for John, I think, reflects what their experience of faith is. The name John is a combination of two Hebrew words. The first, an abbreviated form of the name of God, which we refer to as Yahweh sometimes, and Hanan, which means gracious. So the name John means God is gracious. And I think what's interesting about that name is they knew in their own experience of faith how much God had gifted them, how much He had given them, not of any merit of theirs, but freely, gratuitously. God had gifted them with these amazing experiences and this son very late in life. But I think another thing that's interesting about that name John is it not only means God is gracious, but God has been gracious. It has a double meaning of God has been gracious in the past and God is gracious now in the present moment. As we approach this Christmas, maybe it's an opportunity for us to reflect on how God has been gracious to us in this past year, as crazy as it has been, and how God is gracious to us now in the present. And as we approach to get ready to receive different gifts from others, maybe it might help us, give us time to think about how God has gifted us and this great gift that God has given us of His grace today. If you've enjoyed this video, I invite you to click subscribe down below and help us spread the good news of God. God bless.